Hi everybody, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today is August 23rd. We had a really good trade show up for us today in the form of VCIG. And I want to go through and do a kind of a recap, review, strategy workshop for you today to review how I planned this trade, why I posted the trade plan. You know, this morning was kind of slow, and when it's slow, you'll see me post tickers on our watch list because I've got nothing else to watch, but I'll also tell you what levels they need to hold, and if they don't hold those levels, then really no point in continuing to watch them. But VCIG, the reason it was my main watch, it was a stock that had news. So what's my criteria? My criteria for watching a stock is if it has a catalyst, which is news, and in this case, it had really good news. Yes, this is an Asian stock, and I don't usually like Asian stocks, but with the news, it was AI related, it was an alliance with Microsoft. That is a huge catalyst right there. So that had my attention. The next criteria that I look at that I need to check off is float and price. Now the float for this one was only 7 million. Now anything under 10 million in the float is going to move really well. It's going to move generally pretty quickly. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We need to make sure your entries are good and early, right? Sometimes it will be really uncomfortable getting in on some of your entries, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. But with this one, it was pretty easy to identify how it was going to trade out as it was holding certain levels, and I'll show you what I mean in just a minute. So float was good, 7 million, and it's under $30 a share, so that's also good. It gives us good leverageability, right? You can trade quite a few shares if you want to. The third criteria that I look for is volume and a nice move, right? And so we had that. It was started trading off in the $3 range all the way up to $6 range. So that was the gap. The volume on that was pretty good for pre-market. It wasn't huge, but it was, in the 57,000 range, which is really pretty good. That shows people are interested. It may have been an algo spike, but still it was not a bad algo spike volume-wise for pre-market. So it met all of our criteria. Now, since it had hit this target, and this yellow bar represents where I had posted the trade plan at 6:09 this morning, my time. These white levels, these white lines are the targets that I gave you guys in the trade plan room. These are your targets. And you're going to have to watch the pre-market high as a potential target as well. I drew a dashed line for that later. So once it has hit a target and starts to sell down, which is exactly what we saw after I posted this trade plan, we need to see how it's going to treat levels. Well, it started to sell below the 9 EMA, which is this light blue dashed. This dark blue line is the 50 EMA, and this yellow is the 200. So as it's starting to sell down, ideally it's probably going to come down to this 50. That's the next major support level that I'm looking for. It sold below here, but then let me zoom in and show you what I was looking at. It started to pull up, right? It started to retest the 50 here at around 7:15. 7:14, 7:15 this morning. It was trying to get above the 50, right? It didn't quite get it there, but here we had a double bottom. Whenever I have a double bottom, then I'm looking for an entry. And so what you'll look for is two tails touching that level. That's why this green line showed up. You had two tails touching that same level, giving us a double bottom, and then a candle trading above that, okay? Now, if you're not comfortable getting in on that first candle, you could wait till it's above the 50 EMA, which I kind of recommend because it kind of showed it as resistance right here. So getting in above $5.36, which occurred right here, right around 7:27 a.m. this morning, 3 minutes before opening bell. You could have got in early on that trade at about $5.36-37 right on this candle at 7:27 this morning. And then a couple of things you could have done. You could have just followed the 9 EMA, this dashed line, and that's kind of risky because with this it had so much range, and once it got going, especially at opening bell, it's going to do some crazy stuff. If you're doing that, the candle that closes below would be your exit. This one dipped way below with that tail, but it didn't close below. Do you see how the body is actually holding above the 9 EMA on this red candle? So that will still have kept you in the trade, but really what you're doing is you're just going to the target. Once you've got the buy signal at 7:27, we would have got our entry and we're just going to the target. Okay, so don't worry about these crazy, unless it closes below your stop loss. In this case, our stop loss was this line, right? That held. As you know, on the 1 minute chart, this thing, and even any chart, this thing will repaint. This was a good signal right here. This was a safe entry right here. So getting in a couple of minutes before opening bell and then taking it to your targets, right? So if you got in at $5.40, you would have had your target, first target would have been $6.05 was what we had, right? And it hit that here, and then we had a halt right here, a halt up. And so this was a 5-minute circuit breaker halt. And you would have been stuck in that, but you're holding above the 9, right? You're still holding above the 9. So if you wanted to stay in here, could have, as long as it's holding above the 9, or you can get out at your target. You would have been out before the halt here, looking for another entry. Maybe you would have got in on that halt, on that next candle, and been stuck in the halt. So I was in it to this next target right here. And I held through the halt because this was buying volume, strong buying volume through this target. So I thought, well, I'm going to go ahead and stay with it. I did get out here at $6.60. Now it's a matter of letting it pull back to support. Support can be this target line, or it can be your 9 EMA, or it can be just how price action is working out for you. So what I like to look for in terms of candles and price action is, again, like I mentioned before at pre-market when I was looking for an entry, I'm looking for 2 tails confirming a level. Here we had one tail holding this white line, this white target line that we had already pushed through. So now it's going to prove that level. It was a red candle, so I need to see another tail actually prove that same level. And here we had another candle prove that level right here, and then a higher green candle. So this was my entry here again. And what am I going to do? I'm going to take it to the next level. For me, it was that pre-market high. That's why this one is dashed, because it's cautionary. The pre-market high is always going to be cautionary, and that was at $6.90, okay? And I got out there. That's what that red arrow signifies, okay? So now, and again, other people were looking at that level as a potential profit take. So that's why it pulled back there. So now we have this next potential entry. We're looking again for the double tail at the same level. Here we had a tail here, and here we had a tail here with a higher tail. If I zoom in, you can kind of see, it's hard to see, but this tail, it touched pretty much the same level as this other tail at $6.65. We had 2 tails there. This tail was a little bit higher, not much, but $6.57 or something like that. So you have to really be kind of micromanaging and looking really close. But this was a slightly higher tail, and that means you're going to take it to your next target. I drew this line later. This is not a line that I had on until after it started the backside. So my next target was this level, $7.70, okay? And I did get out there. So getting in on this $6, and I actually got in at $6.67, getting out at $7.70. So $1.10 there. So that's how you plan these. And if you want to go back and look at your chart and look at those candles and look at exactly what I'm talking about with the 2 tail entry, 2 tail followed by a higher bottom, that's a confirmation, okay? Above support, 2 tails above support followed by a higher bottom. That is an entry. So if you're getting out at each of these levels, these white lines, you can use those white lines as support as long as you have that 2 tail followed by a higher bottom, and then take it to your next target that hasn't been tested, okay? That's how that works. And I just wanted to kind of give you this little strategy review. Some of you are familiar with this. Others of you may not be familiar with this setup. So I just wanted to do a quick video on today's trade and how I was reading the chart and how this one played out, okay? I hope this was helpful to you. If you need any help, let me know and we'll talk soon.